here at Yarn Doc, and I have recently gotten back from a trip to Canada, visiting for my mother's 85th birthday, and I brought some yarn back. I visited some yarn stores while I was there, and I had some relatives come up from the US, and everybody knows how much I love yarn. And so they brought me some lovely yarn gifts. I feel like I have fiber all over my face. So if I keep doing this, it's because I've been sorting through all kinds of yarn and fiber and that, and it just sort of feels like it's all stuck to my face. But I digress. So actually, two relatives. So it's two yarns, and I just thought I'd show you that before I show you all the amazingness that I got from flying Squirrel Fine Yarns and Notions in Kitchener, Ontario. So the first I'm going to show you is my brother brought me two skeins of this loveliness. So this is called Moonlight Melody, and it's from Jubilee Yarn. And I think he got it at Walmart. And this is color number 7, Pisces, which I am. So he got me two braids. You can see it's, I was going to say it was aquamarine, and that's the color, the jewel tone and color for March. But it's actually a greener color than I thought. So it's very pretty. There's more blues and almost a purple in this very pale section here. And then this one's a little more blue, and then it really comes out to a lovely green color down here. And so it's prettier than I thought it was going to be. It's much softer. Lupin Craft has a very similar looking braid. It feels completely different, and it's a much thicker weight than this. So whereas Lupin Craft I would use for making a basket, that's actually my plan for the braid that I bought. This is probably something more like a garment or that. It's very squishy soft. And what else can I tell you about it? Recommendation is 4 to 5 millimeter crochet hook or knitting needles. It does have a gauge swatch on it, but it's teeny tiny. It's 50% superwashed wool, 50% acrylic, 200 grams for 440 meters or 481 yards. As I said, the color is Pisces. I don't know how much he paid because, as I said, it was a gift. So, yeah, I had 2 skeins of that in Pisces. This yarn is not available in Europe anywhere that I could find. It was something that I had been looking for because I like braid yarns. I don't know why. I just do. And so, and this one, normally when you take the braid apart, these sections are just donuts. This one, the donuts are attached. So you actually have the fade as one long yarn, but you can work from the little individual donuts. Does that make sense? I hope so. So like if I take the white and open it, and I don't want to do it because I'm not going to work with it for a little while. Actually, I don't have a plan. So I need a plan before I start to work with it. But so I would open it here, and I would open up and it would be a donut. But the end of the donut is connected to the beginning of this next donut. Whereas usually when you have a braid, the donuts are completely individualized. Yeah? Okay. So that was a gift from my brother. Thank you, brother. That was very nice. My new office is getting very full of yarn. So right after I finished making these videos today, we will be doing a big cleanup in here so that I can actually work at my other job. Now, this came from my cousin, and a few years ago, many years ago now, she brought me this yarn from Hobby Lobby, which I have only been in once in my life, and with her. So she gifted me this lovely 5 set of, what's this called? Fresh Haven. And it's really very beautiful yarn. It's Tencel, I believe. Let me see. I'm not going to tell you too much about this because we discovered, yeah, it's 100% Tencel, that this is no longer made. And even like Yarn Sub and that does not have this yarn on it. So I finally, after, I think she gifted this to me on her first visit after I moved to Germany. So like 8 years ago. And I thought it was beautiful, and I thought she chose a beautiful color palette here, but I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't have a plan. So I finally got an idea of what I wanted to do with this yarn, but I needed more of the white to make as sort of the base color. And so I asked her if it was possible to get some more of the white, and of course it's discontinued. So that was why I started looking on Yarn Sub to what can I, pair with it or use to, and it wasn't there. I couldn't find it sort of on any of the sites. It's something called Fresh Haven. And I think the color is just called white. Optic white. So that's what I was looking for. I was looking for 3 or 4 balls of optic white. So after much back and forth and talking to, she was talking to the people in Hobby Lobby, they recommended this, Bamboo-tiful, bamboo-tiful. So that's there. This is also Yarn Bee, and it is, I don't think it's 100% bamboo. It's made in Turkey. Let me see. Made in Turkey, manufactured for Hobby Lobby, Oklahoma. Color is white, 01. You can see there is a slight difference, and maybe it is mostly due to the sheen of the Tencel. I mean, bamboo has a nice sheen to it, but Tencel just really has shine to it. They are about the same weight. And the Bamboo-tiful is just white, just called white. But I don't think it's 100% bamboo. Where is this information on this ball? No, it's 50% cotton, 50% viscose from bamboo. This is softer, and that's probably because this has some cotton in it. This would feel lovely and silky soft, but Tencel just takes it to another level, right? So anyway, I'm going to try to do this and see how that works out. And it might be okay because the Bamboo-tiful does have a natural sheen from the bamboo. And then the accent colors in the Tencel and their extra vivid shine will help the colors stand out even more. Anyway, she got me 3 balls of Bamboo-tiful. So that was very nice. I don't know how much she paid because she didn't ask me for money. On the ball band, it says $5.49, and that would be US dollars. I don't know if that's what you pay in Hobby Lobby or not. I'm just not familiar enough with the store. And what are they recommending here? 4mm hook, or knitting needles. Same recommendation for both crafts. 4 4 ounces or 113 grams for 257 yards or 235 meters. So yeah, so I have a project now finally in mind for this gift that I received so long ago, which I really did love. It wasn't that I didn't like the yarn, it was that I liked the yarn too much. I wanted to come up with something special for it. So I'm pretty sure I have something special in mind. I even have a pattern kind of that I'm adapting and playing with. Why am I incapable of just following a pattern? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I have to put my own little creative spin on everything. Anyway, that will be coming up, and I'm sure you will see that. Good. So that's what I was gifted. But today's video is actually about flying squirrel. I had to make an unexpected trip to Kitchener in Ontario. I was staying in Toronto. Needed to go to Kitchener to help out one of Sven's cousins. And I thought, well, if we're going to be in Kitchener, might as well see what I can find as far as yarn stores. You know, so many of the Toronto yarn stores, I mean, they're fabulous, but they are on here with other people. And there are many Toronto-based YouTubers that talk about some of the various stores there. But I haven't actually seen anything in Kitchener. Kitchener, you know, for my German connection, used to be called Berlin until the Second World War, where they changed the name to Kitchener because, the German connection wasn't so popular then for the obvious reasons. So sometimes I in my head think of it as, oh, let's go to Berlin, Canada. I digress. So I went to Flying Squirrel, and as you can see, I did make a purchase. But come with me into the store. It's adorable. And just outside the front door is a cafe. And if I lived in Kitchener, I think I would spend half my day sitting at the cafe, crocheting or maybe knitting. Stay tuned to this channel for that. In the cafe. It just was a really lovely kind of idyllic setting. And I did have my husband and my sons with me, but there was just down the street a big, beautiful park. And they had a lovely time there while I went and played with yarn. And I think I have a handle in my face. I really, really, really enjoyed being in Flying Squirrel. So come in with me. And you will see they have a real Canada, Ontario focus, which was really what I was looking for when visiting one of these local yarn stores. And yeah, so let's take a look in the store. So I am inside Flying Squirrel Yarns, and it is the coolest little yarn shop. There's a cafe right outside. It is full of Canadian products, starting with this Fibre. This one is from Manitoba. This is Fireweed. I'm going to do my very best to make sure that you can see all the brands and all the names, and if I can hunt down websites for them, I'll put them in the description box below. Bramble Ridge is also Canadian, and I'm forgetting from where, but let's see if I can get that text there. So if you are into spinning, this is a great place to get locally sourced fibers. These spinning wheels are also made, drop spindles are also made by a Canadian artist. This is extremely interesting. This is from an actual local woman from the Kitchener area who has rabbits and makes just very small special collections only for this store. So that's really cool. Let me see here. Julie Asselin, we believe she's working in Montreal right now. So this is really like fuzzy soft. It's kid mohair and silk. And you know how sometimes mohair can be scratchy? This is like the exact opposite of that. And she's got some beautiful, fabulous colors here. And so those go for, the prices that you're seeing are obviously in Canadian dollars. The snowball. Yes, the Frosted Stitch is also Canadian. And I think she said BC. Now I'm forgetting. I'm going to have to double check on that. And Koigu. Koigu is a very, or one of the better known Canadian dyers, Canadian brands. And they are from Ontario, more east of Toronto. I'm trying to remember exactly. I think somewhere between Toronto and Odawa. This one, I don't remember if it's a Canadian dyer or not, but that feels quite nice. It's a hand-dyed yarn. That is very nice. We've got some lang here. Let me see, back up here. We've got some lovely hand-dyed from various vendors here. Piper Knits is a Kitchener brand. So local to the store. Woo! Try and get that focused. Give you a chance to screenshot that if you're interested. This is Rocket Popsicle. What a fun name. 425 yards on their merino sock base. So the standard merino nylon blend. Quite nice. Got good squish. And so we have some various colorways. Look at that neon. Wowza. Wowza. Be great. Piper Knits is also a local Kitchener brand. This is one of the things that I really like about this store is how focused they are. I mean, they do carry some other stuff. As you've seen, they've got some Lang, they've got some Rico, they have Knitting for Olive. So some of these standard brands, they've got Regia. Got Regia here. But they do have a very large collection of local dyers and Canadian dyers. Naked Sheep Fibres is just as Ontario. But this is really cute. Just a little bundle. And this one is called Wicked. And it's based on the musical. I did see that on the website. So she's got some other collections. Which one is this? This one is Blue Monday. And then Full Moon Fibres is, I believe, out of British Columbia. They're a lovely, a popular brand, popular hand dyer in Canada, and I do believe they're out of BC. I wonder if they will tell me on here. No. Oh, Full Moon Fibres is in Barrie. I didn't know that. Barrie, Ontario. Fabulous. I have relatives that live in Barrie. So, look at that little set. Love it. So squishy. And this is their merino sock blend. So 80% merino and superwash merino and 20% nylon. So superwash should be washable. Superwash should be washable. Though it says hand wash. Probably to preserve the hand dyes. It helps the fibers last longer. Now we've got these cute little ones. I wonder if they are Canadian. She didn't mention them. But just a large selection here of mini skeins. I just love that hot pink. I do like the bright colors, but I like them sort of to add pops of color and things. So mini skeins are great for me for buying neon. They have really nice colors. And these minis are 75% merino and 25 nylon. They're not as soft as the full moon or as the other ones that we've tried. Let me see. This is vegan yarn from British Columbia. So let's see. This yarn has a really cool texture. What is it? What is it made out of? Okay, so vegan, it's lyocell, organic cotton, and elastic. Ooh, machine wash, tumble dry. Okay. All you people with big families like me, here we go. This is our yarn right here. So, some sock yarn. This, I know she said was Canadian. This is made in Canada. That's all it says. Let me see. How do I get that in there? There we go. Penner Fiber Studio. 60% alpaca, 20% merino, 20% nylon. Superfine sock weight, 100 grams for 400 meters. This has kind of a rustic appeal to it. And rustic, meaning like, yes, it does have a little bit of grab. Not too much though. Not like, that classic wool feel. Probably being softened up by the alpaca in it. But it does have just a more natural kind of flavor and tone. You've got some heathering effect, probably from the dye taking differently to the different fibers. So adding a really beautiful dimension to what is a single color. So that's really pretty. Really pretty. And over here we have the European stuff. We said something about this. Let me remember. What did we say? What did we say about this one? Oh yes, this is the British yarn. Chimera. And it's got like a lovely squish to it. I wouldn't call the yarn itself soft, but it just has just a really, like I just keep doing this. It just has a really fun squish to it. And it's got that cool sort of puzzling effect that more and more I'm finding myself drawn to. A Loving Path. Loving Path is also Canadian, though don't remember where from. I'm sorry. Loving Path, hand dyed in Canada. Let's see. There's the company name. And this is a fingering 90% superwash merino, 10% linen for 400 yards or 366 meters. Yeah, so we've got beautiful, that almost has a silkiness to it. And we've got some lovely sort of moody colors in that. It's a really, really beautiful. Here we've got some Holst. Oh. I have seen so much on Holst. And I know that a lot of people who knit really like it because of the lovely drape, but this is so much softer than I was expecting. So, duck egg, very pretty. Very pretty. Knitting for Olive, Tinlina. So, if you're looking for these big names, you can also find them. There is more Loving Path here. Loving Path. And this is is another Canadian one, and I think local. Let's see if I can get that. Oh, that's coming up better on camera than I can see it. Oh, I'm sorry, I switched to vertical. And now I'm shaking. Let me see if I can get myself under control here. There we go. I switched hands. Sorry about the shaking and the vertical and the... This one's hand-dyed in Ontario. Hoiko. There you go. This is hand-dyed with care. And what I find really great about this is that they're suggesting that even if you're in the same batch, that you switch your skeins to keep the coloring distribution consistent. That's what I'm looking for. Because with hand-dyed, you can get variation between the skeins even in the same lot. Yeah. So popular, there's not much left of that one at the moment. But this is another type of this Hoiko. Yeah, I think that's how you say it. This is called Teddy. And, oh, I read that as Little Diaper. Jeepers, Little Dipper. I'm like, as a mom, I don't want anything called diaper, but it's not called diaper. It's just my craziness. It's, it looks like it would feel super soft, and it's got great squish, and it's got great texture, but I don't grab it and go, oh, soft, which is what it looks like I would do. So, that's interesting. This is also more frosted stitch with kind of a tweedy effect. There we go. Ooh, Ancient Arts. This is an Italian yarn. That's very nice too. And there's some more of it here. I have a good selection of ancient art, actually. This is more Julie Asselin, and this has a rustic feel to it. So this, it's 100% fine wool with that blend. So, and this is made with, they say, North American fibers. So it's local fibers and locally dyed. A bunch of European yarns, the Moto over here. You got a whole lot of Rico Rumi decorating the top of this shelf. And what is also fabulous about this store is everything is in hand distance. So many of the stores you've got to reach way up into the wall, and this sort of has loft ceilings, so it can make it so that you can't really reach the yarn. And it's like, no, I'm here to squish. I'm here to feel. That's one of the benefits of being here in person. More Koigu. This is such a big name brand, and part of it is they have these wonderful vivid and almost daring colorways. This is their 100% merino wool, and it feels like a nice soft merino. This is a thicker weight, almost bordering on a 5 weight, though I think it's a 4 weight. But I think it's on that border between 4 and 5. And yes, I did pick out the most daring of the colorways, but I think when you buy Koigu, that's what you do, is you go daring. Now, this Spanish yarn was pointed out to me. I haven't seen this brand before, but it's very nice. it is wool. It's 100% wool, so it has a woolly texture. Okay, last time when we were looking at the store, we sent those balls rolling, and I almost did it again, but I caught them. And yeah, so that is a nice yarn. This is, I think this is also Italian. That's the Manchalopi. We also have, you know, Wool and the Gang. Here. We come along, we've got some Journey Sport and Sola. More of the European stuff, the Rico, the Lang. What do we have here? Oh, Lena. Wool and the Gang. And I showed those to you, but I show those to you when we are in the European stores. So lots of good notions here. These are locally made stitch markers, and even though they look solid, they're not. They do open, so they are good for knitters and crocheters. Too often, you either have to pick stitch markers that really either work for knitting or work for crocheting, but these work for both. But you can see they really look like they don't, so they've got a very, very smooth closing mechanism, and yet they do open. So we have that. These little scissor darning needle kits and that are also locally made, Canadian made. And then we have some really nice store merch, which is just like, this is nice. I had one of these. I think you saw me throw it away when I got it from one of those cheap stores. This actually looks accurate and it's nice and thick and not warped. So maybe I'll pick one of those up. Talk to Thea about that. And then they also have the brand stuff. We've got some Knit Pro stuff, some Cocoa Knits. Moving over here to some roving. Oh, Wellington Fibres. Grown and shorn in Ontario. So it's a great place to come if you are looking, if you're in Canada and looking for Canadian stuff, or just want to check out some Canadian fiber, Canadian products. We've got felting stuff. We've got Koigu. And over here we have some locally or Canadian made project bags. And I just love the little granny square touch. It's just beautiful. I also like these stickers. Oh, these are adorable. So these are ultra suede labels that have various sayings on them. I like this one. I stayed up way past my bedtime to make this. Yeah, how often is that true?
There's one that says
May contain cat hair. Yeah. So many of us have our pets right next to us, right? But these are made specifically for the store, and they actually feel quite lovely. I picked it up and went, ooh, so that's always a good sign. We've got some lovely samples. And what I like about this store is you see the sample, and then you also have the yarn connected to the sample. And that's very nice. And I just have to take you over here and show you this mosaic shawl, because it's just so pretty, and I would put it in the window too. Isn't that gorgeous? It's so beautiful. Great job. Got crocheted bags. Like, oops, oh. I shouldn't touch. I made the mannequin dance. I might get accused of purse snapping there. Sorry, lady. Very pretty. And the other, got a little boho vibe going on. Some gorgeous stitch work. A hat. I like the sock blockers with their squirrel on them. So just a really fabulous store. And now I am gonna go and shop. I'll see you on the other side. As I said, it's a really lovely yarn shop with big bright windows. I like that all the yarn is reachable. So often it goes up so high and I feel like I need to be 7 feet tall to get a really good look at everything. And so the yarn was just down at a level that I could reach. And puppies. I think my husband just left and now they're like, nobody here to play with me. Because I have the door closed. They're that loud with the door closed. Yeah, so the yarn store. So you could see that they also have like the main brands. If you're in Kitchener and that's where you live and you want some knitting with Olive, they've got knitting with Olive. If you want Rico, they've got Rico. They have other European brands, which I think are sometimes hard to get in Canada. But I was focused on the Canadian and Ontario yarns. I did make a few purchases, including one of their custom-made little leather, I don't know, tags. Is that the right word? And the one I bought was, I stayed up way past my bedtime to make this. And I don't know if I'll actually put it on something. I might actually just, I have like a secretariat kind of desk and I might just stick it on there because it's pretty much true for whatever I make. And it's like a suede leather. It feels nice on my fingers and it's just true. And I thought it was cute. And so I got one of those. Then I kind of bought 3 yarns, really 3, from different companies, and all were Canadian. So I started with this one. This is the vegan yarn that I showed in the store from Pleiades, Pleiades. And I did look online and did not find much more than what is on the band. I didn't find a independent website for them, or I did find a few sellers that sell the yarn, but nothing from the company itself. So the color I picked is called Fire Coral. It is a nice vivid coral with some variegation in the depth of the color throughout. It's 100 grams or 3.5 ounces. Let me see here. So on the band it says sustainably hand dyed in small batches in New Westminster, British Columbia, Canada. It is lyocell, organic cotton, and elastic. It has 345 meters or 377 yards. And it says machine wash on cold, tumble dry with like colors. I had to, with those washing instructions, I had to. And this elastic in it makes it really sort of fun. It might be a fun project to work with. Or I don't know. It could be frustrating too. With the elastic, it might mess with tension. I'm wondering if that would be harder, if it would be harder to knit with than to crochet with because of that, but I'm not sure. So I would say 3 weight, but thin for 3 weight. Maybe sport, maybe sport. Yeah, with that kind of meterage on 100 grams, yeah, probably sport weight. I'm gonna see if you can see some of the variation and depth of color in there. So yeah, that's all I know. But I have been doing a series on eco yarns and vegan yarns. Just finishing up a review of the Stenley Yarns vegan cakes. And so I thought this would be a nice addition to that. And it just looked like a fun yarn to play with. Yeah, it has an interesting texture. It's definitely not smooth. It is a textured yarn with the elasticity in it. It's just interesting. It's just an interesting yarn, and I wanted to play with it. I will probably make something for the hair, like a headband or a headscarf or something like that with it. Because I also think that elasticity is good for something like that. I don't know. I'm just going to play with it. You know, it wasn't the cheapest toy, but it's hand-dyed, right? And Canadian. So I did go with that. I was really tempted to get one of the two actually Kitchener-based dyers. The reason I didn't is because hand-dyed yarns are justifiably pricey, and none of the colorways really matched me. Maybe if I'd had, you know, one of my daughters with me, and they were like, oh, I really like that, I would have picked that up and made something for them in something that they liked. But I tend to go for some of the more muted, more mature, more less diverse as far as stripes and speckles. And I really am not a speckled yarn person. I know that's unpopular. It just, for me, is not something I respond to. And there was a lot of that in them. And so I just didn't find something that grabbed me, that I went, yes, for me, I'm going to spend the money on this. So I did highlight them in the video, and I wanted to make sure that you could see them because they are beautiful and they're beautifully done. They just weren't they weren't the right fit for me. So I don't want you to think because I didn't buy a Kitchener yarn that in the Kitchener shop that I wasn't supportive of them or didn't like them. It just wasn't the right way for me to spend my money on that day. But I think, no, I did represent 3 provinces in my purchases. And these are from Ontario. These are from Black Sheep Farm. Yeah, and I was able to find out some good information. Black Sheep Farm has their own website. So I looked it up, and Black Sheep Farm is an organic farm and owned by a couple, Brenda and Skylar. I'm not going to try and pronounce their last names because I will butcher them, and that doesn't seem like a nice thing to do. But Brenda and Skylar, they have a lovely story. Brenda was in finance in Toronto, and she left that world in order to start farming. And Skylar was a neighboring farmer. And one day they met, and I guess one thing led to another, and now they have their daughter Emma, and they are raising sheep together. They use completely ecological, and I have fibers all over my face. Ecological and ethical methods for raising their sheep, for shearing their sheep. I am 98% sure that these are undyed yarns. They come in 3 colors. I picked 2 of them. There was a third one that was a little bit more gray, and I just thought these 2 worked very well together. And when I was checking out with them, I was asked, did I want to see a piece that was worked up in these 2 colors? And I said, yes, please. And that is here somewhere. And I just thought, that's exactly what I was picturing in my mind. That is how I thought they would look. So I know I'm going to be very pleased. I'm not 100% sure what I want to do. Now, I do want to do something with color work with them. And I did not get very much. But this is, so this is Black Sheep Farm Sola. That's the type of yarn. It's 100% wool, 100 grams for 300 yards or 274 meters. It is 2-ply. It is hand wash, cold, lay flat to dry. That makes sense. It's 100% Ontario grown and processed. And from the Black Sheep Farms website, I learned that it is spun in Wave Fibre Mill, which is near Parry Sound. And it is made from Romney, Gotland, and Shetland mixed breed sheep. Special yarn has been fully grown and processed within Ontario using regenerative farming and processing practices. Because of this, the mill has left a considerable amount of lanolin on the yarn, which in our opinion makes for a very enjoyable knitting experience. This yarn will bloom considerably after washing, so be sure to swatch before starting any projects, which is always good to know. It's not a rough texture. Like sometimes when we think of like raw Shetland, we think of that pure wool scratch. This doesn't have scratch, but it's not, and it does have, you know, squish, but it's not soft. Though I think based on what this is saying about blooming, that it will get considerably softer after having been washed and blocked, which sounds lovely. It's always interesting to hear that there's lanolin on it, because the only thing I knew about lanolin before I really got into fiber was using it when I was breastfeeding to soothe the area afterwards. And it was particularly effective. So ladies, if you're suffering, get some lanolin. It really, really helps. Really helps. It's a DK weight, and it's really beautiful wool. I'm really pleased with it. I can see that it has been minimally processed. Like that is also clear. But not in the, like I'm pulling out bits of hay from it. I have had yarns like that. Like the Bulgarian wool that I worked with. And that was, for me, that was unpleasant. This just looks nice. Like it just looks like it's, and feels like it's going to be a pleasant experience. And I think I've been hinting at it for weeks now, several videos. Next month, I am going to do a review of KATZIE, and I'm going to start with their Intro to Knitting class. And I think I want to use some of this for knitting. I don't know if it will be for my very first knitting project, because I really do want to do some color work on it. So I'm going to start with the Intro to Knitting course, do sort of a vlog / review of KATZIE, because I haven't really seen that. It's sponsored. KATZIE sponsors so many people, but I haven't seen somebody that sort of signed up on their own and talked about what it's like, because I kind of am wondering, how is it different than just doing it on YouTube? So I'm going to check it out, and they have others, you know, lace work, cables, color work, etc., etc. And so I'll start with Intro to Knitting, remind myself how to cast on, what the difference between knit and purl is. I think one's in the front and one's in the back. It's been a long time, folks, and I had very, very basic skills when I was knitting. So it's time to improve upon those. And so I think I'm going to save this for a color work project in knitting. So you might not see these again for a little while, because I got to learn the basics again and then work up to it. But that is my hope for Black Sheep Farms Sola. It's just lovely. There's something special about undyed wool, like natural wool. And don't get me wrong, I like the, well, that's not wool, but it's what I have that's hand dyed right here in my reach. I like it all. Okay, who am I kidding? I like it all. I like it all. But I really was drawn to that. And it was like on the bottom shelf. You could easily have walked past it and not seen it. And when I picked it up, she was like, oh, I forgot to tell you about that one. I'm like, I sniffed it out. I sniffed it out anyway. So I got one more. So from BC to Ontario to Quebec. This is Julie Asselin Journey Sport. I got this very beautiful color. And again, it's technically a solid, but there's so much dimension in that blue. This is, oh, I'm really, really bad at these names. 80% Rambulette. Rambulette, I believe, is the way to say that. 20% Targhee. And these are all North American fibers. Now, in this political climate, if you are looking for purely Canadian or Mexican, right? That's part of North America too, let's not forget. I can't guarantee with that. And I couldn't find out anything more specific than that. So it is definitely a fully North American product, right from the wool. The dyer is Canadian, has been working out of Sherbrooke. Yeah, Sherbrooke since 2011. Husband and wife team, I think. I think it's a husband and wife team. I hope it's not brother and sister and I just married you off. I'm so sorry if I did. So sorry about that. The colorway is Pacifica. Or Pacifique. No, it's Pacifique. Which makes sense with the Quebec French-Canadian connection. Let's see. 56 grams. For 192 meters, 210 yards. Recommending a 2.75 to 3.25 millimeter. But I'm assuming that means knitting needles. because I think that would be rather small for a crochet hook. Especially, I mean, they say it's sport. They say it's sport, but it's a big sport weight to me. To me, it looks like a 3-weight, a light 3-weight, like about the same size as, say, like a mandala cake, Lion Brand mandala. So, yeah, I think sport weight is I don't know. You can decide that for yourself. To me, it looks a little bit thicker than that. So that is everything that I see on the band here. It is springy and squishy and yeah, just really squishable. Not the softest. It's not the softest, but it's not in any way rough. It's more squish than soft, if that can make any sense to you. It does make sense to me when I'm holding it. I don't know if it'll make sense to me when I look back on editing, going, what are you talking about? Quill is more squish than soft. It is. Looking at what they say on the website, their focus is a spirit of community and mutual support. They have a designer program that you can reach out to them and I don't know what that entails. But I thought that was interesting. I hadn't seen that so much on websites or that before. It does have a beautiful like elasticity to it. Not like the elastic of this, but just sort of in the flexibility and squish factor. How many times can I say squish? It's squishy, squishy. And they have chosen business partners who share their vision of work well done and equitable. Their work spirit and practices reflect our shared values and goals. So they have a real sort of ethical focus in their production. They have some of the nicest feeling ball bands, okay? That might sound like the craziest thing to comment, but these things feel so nice on your hands that it will be a shame to take them off and cake this yarn up because they're just really nice ball bands. They're thick and I don't know, have like a rubbery texture. They feel really nice. So this is a place where the petting of the yarn, which you know is something I go crazy for, is coming in second to the petting of the ball band. Have you seen that before on me? No. So very nice. If the ball band is any indication, very high quality. That is what I bought at Flying Squirrel. Now, if I had had an unlimited budget, there would be a lot more in this haul. I didn't have an unlimited budget. In fact, I had no budget for this store. And I think I spent about 160 Canadian dollars. So it is not inexpensive. But I wanted to support the store. I wanted to encourage these Canadian products. I wanted to put a little money in the Canadian economy. And in this way, highly recommend Flying Sheep. I don't know if you can get things cheaper somewhere else, but the experience of that store, it was just a nice place to be. It was a nice place to be. It was a nice place to spend some time. They have a lovely curated collection of Canadian goods. So if that is important to you, or if you are there as a tourist and you are looking for souvenir yarn, it's fantastic. I mean, I looked at a lot of yarn stores. Originally, I thought I was going to have about 3 weeks. And so I thought I'm going to be able to go up to Kingston and all around in Toronto and visit all the shops. And so I have been looking at yarn shop websites in Canada for months. And I haven't seen such a large selection of Canadian and Ontario yarns anywhere else. Like, this was exactly what I was looking for as far as a good place to buy souvenir yarn, tourist yarn, or yarns with a Canadian focus. If there is a better one, feel free to comment and let me know about it. I would certainly love to visit on my next trip. I still have lots of family in Canada, so it's not infrequently that I go. It was there for a little while, thank you, COVID. But now that life is kind of back to the new normal, it shouldn't be so infrequent that I go back home. It's weird to go home from home. Home is on both sides of that trip, but I digress. Right now, this is the best store I have found for that kind of content. And as I said, you can also get the other stuff. You know, some of the major major brands as far as knitting or that goes. But that wasn't really what I was in there looking for on that day. So I confess there's not too much footage of that, and there's none of that in my haul. But yeah, Flying Squirrel, great place. Go buy some yarn, sit outside, have a coffee or tea, whatever, drink of your choice, and stitch for a little bit. Seems good. If you like this, it's kind of one of the things that I do around here. If you're interested in any of the projects that I've talked about, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications, and you can come along, follow along. I'm not going to have too many more hauls. I'm saving up for some stuff in October. Woolfest. Or Volafest is coming to my region in October, and I am saving up to spend there. And I'm also going to Croatia in October and would like to search for some local flavor of things there. So I do have a little bit that has been ordered and is still coming in. But for most of August and September, I am saving my yarn budget to splurge in October. And so I'll be focused more on what I'm making, on reviewing some of this stuff that has been coming in. I'm sort of looking at this pile over here on this side of my office going, oh, I need to clone myself to really work with this. But then I don't want to do it because I want to play with all the yarn. Oh, it's terrible. A terrible problem to have, right? So do that. Come back. Let's play with yarn. Let's talk about yarn. I'm now directing traffic with my lovely hand-dyed yarn hanks. I'm gonna go and have some more coffee and clean this place up. I'll see you next time, friends.